Thank you for bringing up the power of editing. I always forget I can change things in post.
Right? Just a little cut and snip.
Little cut and snip. Well, been there.
Johnny Bravo needed a cut and snip.
Hey, retro lovers! Welcome to the Nostalgia Junkies podcast, where we talk all about pop culture, retro toy collecting, and nostalgia. And now, here are your hosts, Alex and Brandon.
Hey y'all, I'm Alex.
And this is Joe.
And we're here for the Nostalgia Junkies. So Joe, today we're going to be talking about various Cartoon Network shows and kind of just like the progression of Cartoon Network over the years. You know, both of us growing up in the 90s, Cartoon Network was kind of a huge staple of either your childhood or just like the lunchroom conversation, because that's like what we're all kind of watching, all kind of talking about.
Everyone watched and talked about Cartoon Network, especially at recess. Recess, we were always playing Cartoon Network characters.
Mm-hmm.
And we had like our own little like cartoon, multiverse kind of going on.
Dude, like everyone was talking about Powerpuff Girls. Everyone, like, I feel like even the boys like wanted to have like the Powerpuff Girls powers.
I loved Powerpuff Girls. Like Buttercup was probably my favorite. Autumn was like
Blossom.
Yes, Blossom. Blossom was very pretentious.
Yep.
Then Bubbles was just bubbly, but
yeah.
I just think Buttercup was just one of the best.
Well, there was three dynamic personalities. You had the leader, which was Blossom.
Yep.
You had Bubbles, who was like kind of like the ditzy one.
Yep.
But she was just very, very sweet. She was like almost like too sweet. She was like innocent.
Yeah.
And then you had Buttercup, who was, just hardcore. And that was, I feel like everybody loved all three of them for different reasons. I feel like if there was anyone that you actually just didn't like, it was Blossom, because she was the leader. And I feel like she always kind of put on this "I'm better than you" type of thing.
Yeah. And then what I love about it is like, it's the weird part that this dude made these girls in the lab.
Yep.
Like when I think of Sugar as Blossom, Spice is Buttercup, and Everything Nice is
Bubbles.
But then you see like
Chemical
X comes in, and then like all of a sudden, an explosion happened, and kids are born.
And you see Professor Utonium is over on the corner, like, oh. And that's the day 3 little girls were made.
Yes, it's the craziest origin story of just a dude making meth.
Dude, I will say though, they had some of the best villains.
Oh, don't even get me started.
The Green Gang.
Don't even get me started on Mojo Jojo.
It is like Mojo Jojo.
I feel like Mojo Jojo wasn't even a villain. They just beat him up for certain reasons. Some episodes. I remember one episode he wasn't even doing anything. He was
going grocery shopping.
He was grocery shopping, and people were terrified of him. And then they end up whooping him.
Yeah, the girl's like, it's Mojo Jojo. He's up to something. Dude is just buying groceries.
Buying some eggs, bro.
Holmes just wanted to make an omelet. He just wanted a Denver omelet in the morning. That's all he wanted.
It was literally an episode. I felt like it was very racial. Like if you go back on it, it's literally 3 white girls beating up a monkey. And it's just like,
yeah.
And this dude's doing nothing wrong. And that's the episode I'm like, yo, it's probably one of my most favorite watch one, because I'm just like, yo, I don't think they knew what they were doing. Or maybe they did, but it was a little suspicious. But I always like Mojo Jojo because I feel like he actually had a motive and he was so good.
Well, and also, like, not only, this is what Powerpuff Girls really did well with Mojo Jojo, and they did it with some of the other villains, but they really humanized him and they gave him a backstory. It wasn't just like, hey, he's a villain, he lives in this tower, he's trying to destroy the Powerpuff Girls. They gave him reason to.
Yeah.
And, like, do you remember the reasoning?
I remember he was a baby monkey, and it was something about being abandoned.
He was a baby monkey that was being raised by Professor Utonium. He was Professor Utonium's like baby. He was the Curious George to Professor Utonium's man in the yellow hat.
And then once the Powerpuff Girls were made, he was abandoned by him.
So the professor started shifting all of his attention onto the Powerpuff Girls and wasn't paying attention to Mojo Jojo. So Mojo Jojo wasn't getting fed and was literally left in the rain.
Yes, I do remember.
And it's like, so like the thing is like Mojo Jojo's like, hey, I created this thing. Like, I'm this monkey that you're trying to train to be smart. I am trying to do this. And then, these 3 girls were made. And all of a sudden he's like watching how fast and strong the Powerpuff Girls are. Yet Mojo Jojo, in that same accident that created the Powerpuff Girls, he basically turned into the leader from Marvel. He had the chemical X put on his head, and that's when his brain grew. Like, he would have just been a normal monkey if it wasn't for the creation of the Powerpuff Girls.
I thought he also was extremely smart. So every time he did something, like he would solve a crossword puzzle, or he would like make something or whatever. He would show the professor, and the professor was like, and he would look excited, but he was looking past him to the Powerpuff Girls, like, oh, they're lifting up couches, they're lifting up chairs.
Yeah, like that, or was I think he made a tower out of like the blocks at one point that spelled
Yep.
something, and the Powerpuff Girls like ran through and knocked it down. And instead of being impressed with like Mojo Jojo, he was like, "Oh, the girls are so fast," but it literally destroyed Mojo Jojo's work. So like, I understand Mojo Jojo. I side with Mojo Jojo.
He slept on.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But then Mojo Jojo created the Rowdy Rough Boys, which snips and stales and puppy dog tails and toilet wine in prison. It was such. That is probably my favorite episode of Powerpuff Girls is the Rowdy Rough Boys.
So what makes that the best episode? Did you say in your eyes?
I think the fact that you finally get the dichotomy of like you have the Powerpuff Girls, which were like great in good female leadership, and then the Rowdy Rough Boys of literally just being like, as a teacher, you see the kids play on the playground, you see the kids in the classroom, and you're like, the girls, like, they're just kind of there doing the work, and then the boy comes over and like pinches them or like pushes their paper off the desk and is like trying to kind of get their attention. And the Rowdy Rough Boys really kind of just had that attitude of like, I'm going to cause problems for your attention. And it's funny because like, they do all this stuff and they kind of want the attention because they want to take it away from Powerpuff Girls. And as soon as the Powerpuff Girls start giving that attention, that is how they beat the Rowdy Rough Boys. It wasn't through physical brute strength. It was they were girls. And they're like, oh, we see you. And, I kind of think you're cute. And all of a sudden the boys ran away. And I see it in the classroom all the time because I see like my students, like they like kind of like, oh yeah, I like this girl. And then the girl's like, oh, I kind of like you too. And then they run away. And it's like, I want nothing to do with you now. It's like,
I'm in the bag. That's how it is.
Like little scared coward boys. It's okay. But no, I love that show. Like that era of Cartoon Network, the 90s to like early thousands was by far the peak of animation.
I agree. And then you have great shows such as was it like Cow and Chicken? Basic animations,
oh my
like
gosh,
you said.
Cow and Chicken. Yep.
But it worked.
Mhm.
I think it was not just the animations that did it justice. The animations weren't the greatest. But I think
it was
the quality.
It was a combo because it was. You're saying it wasn't animation style. It was animation plus simple stories plus just good. It was good storytelling though, or it was good something that the kids could latch onto.
And the jokes hit too. I feel like they were basic, simple, but it was overall something that the whole family could laugh at, or a certain group could, but no one was really left out. All the episodes, they got the younger kids, they got the older kids, and they got some kids who were a little more mature for their age. All of them could understand the jokes and get something out of it as well.
Yeah, I feel like that whole era, like the Ed, Ed and Eddie, Cow and Chicken, I Am Weasel, I Are Baboon, Johnny Bravo, like those were the shows that like you, your brother, your friends, like you could all sit down and watch together. I mean, I know Johnny Bravo is like, it's no longer a culturally appropriate. It wasn't a culturally appropriate show back in the day. Like you literally had this misogynistic man going, "Whoa, mama!" Like, and dude, but the jokes that they told in that show were so over the line. It went over our heads as kids. Like we didn't know that. All we saw was this big muscular man with big stupid yellow hair walking up to a woman, saying something stupid, and then getting hit for saying something stupid.
Yeah.
We didn't know what he was saying. And I think that was part of the problem. We probably didn't, because we didn't know what he was saying. Then you probably had a bunch of kids that were trying to repeat that.
Just walking up to the teacher, just, oh, mama.
Oh, mama.
But then again, I think as a kid, I understood what he was doing. But I think also it was a good time to be like, hey, you can have the looks, you can have that confidence. But without that personality, really, you weren't going to get something, because he had a personality away from the girls, like you were describing with Mojo Jojo and the Rowdy Boys. With him, he was a big comic fan.
Yep,
he loved comics, but when he was out on the streets, he wasn't showing that to the girls. He was just showing them, the muscle. He was the red pill guy.
Well, it was also
Andrew Tate.
Do not call him Andrew Tate. Johnny Bravo has so much better character than Andrew Tate does. And Andrew Tate wishes he could be Johnny Bravo. But like Johnny Bravo, the other thing is not only does he become a comic book fan, he was a mama's boy.
He was. He loved
Like,
his mama. He had so much respect for her.
and
And
that's why I love, like, whenever his mama would hear that Johnny Bravo was, doing something stupid, she would go, Johnny, and he was, sorry, mama.
or no, mama, I didn't do that. I'm so
It
sorry,
me. It
mama.
wasn't me. I'll go apologize. And it was a good show.
Or yes, mama.
He was a yes mama man. How about that yes mama?
He was like a really embodiment of a yes, mama Elvis.
Yeah, dude, he really did kind of speak like Elvis.
I think that's exactly what they were going for. Just Elvis, mama's boy. That's
It was
jacked up.
Yeah. I just dude, I just love that show so much. Like growing up, like it's kind of sad that it's been part of the cancel culture, but it's like it was a formative show as the aspect of, yeah, it was a stupid show to watch, and it was like one of those stupid comedies. Like, but yet we still have South Park, we still have Family Guy, like we still have a lot of these shows that have kind of like crossed the line, and it's like those shows aren't canceled, but Johnny Bravo is. Yet, dude, like I'll tell you, the next show I'm gonna say, it's one of my favorites. It's not Cartoon Network, it's a Netflix show. It's adult animation, but it's definitely accessible to everybody. Big Mouth. Big Mouth, great show. Is
Pretty
it
good.
appropriate at all? Hell no, but that's kind of the point of it. It's not supposed to be an appropriate show.
It's a coming of age story. That's what it is.
But like the fact that like they are literally talking about what middle schoolers are going through, and like I identify with the show because like I remember going through that as a middle schooler, and so like it made a lot of sense. But it's funny that like that show is like so revered in animation right now, yet Johnny Bravo is canceled.
I think it was also the platforms you're putting it on. Cartoon, when you put Cartoon Network on a show, you're thinking of kids. But when you can now go on, Netflix, and then you can go on to all these streaming apps, and it's like, well, they can gauge their audience to what they want. Like Disney just started adding, the Defenders on there, so that's
true.
Rated R. So they're diversifying, but I think once, especially in the '90s, slapping, that was it
Slapstick humor, or slapping
or just slapping Cartoon Network on the show, you have to make it, family friendly or something like that. You can push the lines a little bit. We've seen some of the newer shows push those lines, but
I don't know, man. Like I hear what you're saying, but I also kind of disagree with you because like Cartoon Network was not just Cartoon Network. There was also Toonami. There was Adult Swim on there as well. So
I agree.
I feel like they could, if Johnny. Well, I also think Johnny Bravo back in the day wasn't as controversial. Like it wasn't viewed as controversial as it was in today's day and age. But I wonder if they were going to do Johnny Bravo in today's day and age, would that be a show that would actually probably be put on Adult Swim?
I think it would be something you could put on Adult Swim, but I feel like people are just going to try and cancel it at that point. Just because it's like, it's been canceled. They're going to be like, there's a reason why it was canceled, yada, yada, yada.
So,
and they're going to just use like words like red pill and stuff like that, and it's just not going to work.
So a little nugget for you, because I know that you also you host the Bump Boys podcast.
Yes, I do.
Did you know that they were actually going to do a Johnny Bravo movie back in the 90s?
I heard rumors of it. I don't know if anything was going to be made about it. I heard something about, the Super Friends. Was it?
The Justice Friends?
The Justice Friends. I heard something about that, but that's all I heard.
No, so they were going to do a Johnny Bravo movie, a like full feature-length film, like for theaters. And it got to the point where there was actually an actor who was cast for the role of Johnny Bravo.
I feel like, since you brought up the Bump Boys, is it a wrestler?
It is a wrestler.
Oh, is this the part where I get to guess?
This is the part where you get to guess. Do you want me to give you a couple choices? It was a wrestler who was prominent in the 90s, so, it could be John Cena, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson,
Stone Cold Steve Austin,
Stone Cold Steve Austin, Ric Flair, or Triple H.
I feel like you can go Triple H, but I feel like Ric Flair had that. I'm gonna go Triple H.
Nope.
Was it Ric Flair?
Nope.
Not John Cena.
Not John Cena.
He was it 2000? Was it The Rock?
It was The Rock. They were gonna cast The Rock as Johnny Bravo.
Black Bravo? What?
He was cast as Johnny Bravo, and nothing ever. I don't think there was ever a script, but it was just like so interesting the fact that they're doing it. I'm also noticing. Do you see how so we're recording video and audio right now, and I'm noticing that the new mount we just got is terrible, and it's just going to slide down. So if you're watching the video, you could. I'm not going to reach over the desk, but we'll fix it next time.
Or you know what we could do with the power of editing.
Oh yeah, the power of editing. Ready? 1,
Power of editing.
2, 3. There we go. Look at that. Thank you for bringing up the power of editing. I always forget I can change things in post.
Right, just a little cut and snip.
Little cut and snip. Well, been there.
Johnny Bravo needed a cut and snip.
I think Johnny Bravo was cut and snipped.
I don't know. He wouldn't have been acting like that.
No, I think Johnny Bravo had a little cut and snip.
Yeah, he overcompensating for something.
Dude, the whole
stand is going.
Okay, ready? Power of editing again. 1,
2,
3. And we're back. Wow, that was well, you know the studio is getting redone. As you can see, there's 2x4s if you're watching on video. If you're not watching on video, there are 2x4s behind me because they just did the framing in the basement, and electrical will be going in on Monday. So basement is coming along.
It's looking good, by the way.
Yeah, right?
Shout out to you. Good job on that.
If you haven't been following us on Instagram or TikTok, Nostalgia Junkies podcast, go check it out because I've been posting some videos of the basement as it's been getting done. I showed like a before video of the office, so you guys got to see, how the fact that it was very messy, and there is a treadmill that's covered in towels because just like every person who owns a treadmill, we use it as an extra closet.
Hey, it does help. It does. It definitely is like 2 new set of arms.
Yeah, exactly. You just put stuff on the treadmill. It's like an extra shelf.
It is. It's great for drying things too.
If you really want to get stuff get rid of it, you just turn the treadmill on, put it at the highest speed, and watch it yeet it across the room.
Sayonara.
Adios. Which, speaking of sayonara, Samurai Jack.
This was a show that Jamie loved growing up, and then I saw the value of it. It looked really good. Extremely good. I just never watched it because I didn't have access to it. It was a little later than what I was expected to watch TV at. Great animation.
Yep. I know Jamie loved it. It was a show that, again, also like you, I did not get to really watch it growing up because it was in that 9 o'clock block, and it's mom didn't want you watching cartoons that late, and so I didn't really watch it growing up. I watched a few episodes, and maybe it's because I didn't grow up with this, so I don't have that nostalgia aspect for it. Yeah. Plugging the podcast, but I don't know. I did not find it to be world changing. I feel like everyone, when they talk about Samurai Jack, it is this world changing show. It's so good, and yeah, it's good.
It's a good show. Definitely a good show.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing I ever watched. Kind of like how I feel Star Wars fans are. I have beef with Star Wars fans.
Really?
Oh yeah, my wife is a Star Wars fan, and she is a diehard Star Wars fan that did not remember that Darth Vader was a Sith Lord.
Yes, he was. I feel like Star Wars kind of fell off lately, but overall, I think it's a good story overall. When it gets completed, it's another story. But
yeah, Episode 7 was good. The Force Awakens was a good movie, and then they did number 8.
Episode 7?
Episode 7, the first one with Rey.
The Force Awakens?
Yeah.
That was dog. That was trash.
Dude, I thought it was good when they killed Han Solo.
I think Star Wars is gonna have to be something separate, but because I can go on for hours about this.
We'll do a whole nother episode on Star Wars because we don't.
I also got to get Brandon's opinion on Star Wars.
Wait. Wasn't Clone Wars originally a Cartoon Network show?
Clone Wars was a Cartoon Network show.
So we're still on. We are still on topic.
I watched during the pandemic. Long filler show, great for the lore, but definitely a great show. But then it also got changed.
We were talking about Clone Wars. We're talking about Samurai Jack. I think Samurai Jack, as well as Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans, not this new Teen Titans Go.
Yep.
It was the great that, and I know it's a Nickelodeon show, but Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think those 3 shows of Samurai Jack, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and Teen Titans were the perfect onboarding for kids getting into anime. None of them were a full-fledged anime because they're all American productions. But it kind of had that anime storytelling.
The best way to describe it is it was a coming-of-age time for us. It was a time where shows that we started, they were introduced to us as kids, we are now following it into our preteen years, and now we're making friendships, and now we're finding value in friendships. And these shows were around during that duration of that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think overall, great shows, lovely shows. And I think that's why we have so much nostalgia with it, because we associate it with friendship and, you know, those early difficult years.
And like again, like those storylines were so good, and in the storylines, well, like it might have been something in a distant world or dealing with a supervillain. The real life problems that those characters were dealing with
We're
and
very
interacting
real.
were stuff that we as kids were also going through.
Exactly. Like, I know Avatar isn't a Cartoon Network
Yep.
show, but I think that's the best. You brought up the best point right there.
Mhm.
Any person on there you could relate to. And I think the one people relate to the most was Prince Zuko.
Cabbage Man. Oh, sorry.
Oh, poor Cabbage Man, too. I felt for that man's struggles. We all struggled.
Cabbage Man. He was just trying to sell his cabbages.
Trying to hustle. He was a dream. He was a hustler.
No, but you're right.
But like,
Zuko.
Like Zuko like
was
trying to go for his father's approval, and he never got it.
Mhm.
But then you also look at other Cartoon Network shows that we had. I didn't get to watch Samurai Jack too much. I don't really know the morals of that story.
But Teen Titans, like
Teen
dealing with
Titans-
Robin, like Robin was the only person in that entire team who didn't have powers, yet he was the leader. He pushed himself consistently to get better, and it was amazing to watch him. Like I think my favorite episodes of Teen Titans had to be the Red X episodes.
Yes,
Which,
easily.
there were only like a few of them. Actually, there was only one Red X episode. Because I think I'm also confusing the Slade's apprentice when he was Slade's apprentice.
Yep.
And he's dealing with that almost inner battle of do I continue to be on this path of being a hero and doing the right thing, or do I work with this villain to become better at my art of like the fighting, the combat? And it's like he wanted to be a hero, but he knew that Slade was a better fighter than he was.
Slade provided skills that Robin never got to learn because Batman chose not to develop those skills.
Exactly.
That's why he sent him to the Teen Titans. That's why he, made him hey, this is a group of people, you guys are gonna learn together and stuff like that. And I think overall it was a great show when you introduce Slade as like, he is his mentor, father figure person. He's like, okay, I can damage control all the stuff that Slade does, or I can possibly fail on trying to stop him. But it's like it was a moral dilemma.
But they also did a really good job at putting in like deep cuts from the comics and like really good and elaborate storylines. Like the whole Judas Contract story arc with Tara, was phenomenal, and it was a whole season long story that you don't get in animation anymore. There's no more episodic stories like that are done well for kids. Like yes, there's Young Justice that's now on HBO Max, which is owned by the same company that owns Cartoon Network, and or maybe not anymore. I know it's all Discovery Plus. I don't keep up with it anymore. They're screwing that stuff up. But Young Justice, while being a kid's show, is not really a kid's show. It is more of the teen to young adult, because it has that very serious and somber story where Teen Titans mix that together. There were Tara died. Died. And like they're the sad storylines, but then you also have like the what was his name? The basically Austin Powers-esque character there, like the crazy ones. You also had like the control freak with the remote control. They had some crazy storylines, but we also had like Doom Patrol was there. I feel like that was like all of our like first introduction to Doom Patrol was Teen Titans. Like
I agree.
But it's like Doom Patrol was a deep cut from the comics for Beast Boy, but like no one, I don't think. I mean, like, I read comics, but like I didn't know that deep yet.
I didn't know until I watched like a video. I'm like, did you know this? I'm like, I definitely did not know that.
Yeah, and like it pushes you then to like learn more into it. So like then when Doom Patrol came out, the new show, I knew about them because of Teen Titans.
Yeah,
but yeah, I like that whole like culmination and era of Cartoon Network was just. I think it was the peak. It was peak animation and storytelling of Samurai Jack, Teen Titans, and then I'm gonna throw this one out there. And I love this show, and I've watched every single episode of this show. Ben 10.
Wasn't one of the shows I watched, but I definitely saw the value in Ben 10. I've seen a couple episodes here and there when I was a
A
kid
wee
Saturday
little
morning.
lad.
Oh no, I watched it when I was like in middle school, high school.
Mhm.
Every other Saturday I would go get my haircut with my brother.
Oh, okay.
And for some reason it would always be playing there. I guess that's what they thought the kids wanted to watch. The kids, I guess, loved that show, so I
Well, dude,
I just didn't know.
I don't really want to like put it on Pokemon level, but
It was up there at
on the
one point.
merchandising level, like it was like a Pokemon like type of merchandise. I think you had like Pokemon had the Pokedex.
They had
Ben 10 had the Omnitrix.
The Omnitrix, right?
Yep.
The fact that I don't even watch Ben 10, but I still know it's called the Omnitrix or whatever. And then
And every time that
Yep.
every season for Pokemon they come out with a new Pokedex. Every season of Ben 10 they had a new Omnitrix.
you know what's the funny part about how you just mentioned that they always come up with a new Pokedex?
Mhm.
Love to know how Pokemon Arceus just gave you a book, like a fucking composite book. And they're like, hey, fill it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, and Arceus?
Yeah,
like-
I just started playing it. Man.
Yeah, like here's a journal. Write and read.
There's a composite notebook. On the back, there is the times tables. You may need that.
And if you do a good job, you get a stamp.
Wow.
Pokemon Boy Scouts.
You get a star, gold star.
Yo, how far are you in the game, by the way?
Susan's a lot farther than me. She's already like,
Oh my gosh. When we
I think
do the
4 nobles in, and I'm like 2. So
Oh,
it's,
dude, you can spend hours
I've been
playing that game.
exploring, bro. I've been exploring the area. I'll just crouch. At one point in the game,
What do you rustle from
I
up? The
I was-
wilderness must be explored.
bro, I forgot how to uncrouch at one point. So at one point, I was crouching the whole time. And I was like, I don't know how to uncrouch. So I'm walking halfway across this region, crouch.
Have you found the waterfall in the first area yet?
I'll take that as a no.
Okay, dude. There is a Gyarados that is just flying in the
Oh,
air.
yeah. I found that. And I tried to I spent like 50 balls throwing
Dude,
it at him.
you got to get like the highest jet ball to get it. Like it
I
is.
can't get it.
Yeah, no, you have to wait till you're later in the game to get it. But that is like one of the really cool things that it is. You get to see Pokemon interacting in like their actual wildlife. And again, Pokemon was on Cartoon Network back in the day, like back when they had the Johto series and
Favorite.
gosh, when
Favorite.
Ash had Larvitar, dude. That was some of the
So good.
trippiest episodes. Remember they went to like the dark dimension for a little bit?
Yes.
That was like,
And
I love
there was
that.
the dark balls, the
Mhm.
people who were the
But
dark catchers. And all
They
that.
never aired the episodes in succession.
Yeah. No.
It was like they got like a stack of episodes from Japan and be like, oh, well, we're going to throw this one today. We're going to throw that one today. So you'll be like watching Ash like get the 3rd badge. Then he has the 5th badge. And then he's like going up against Falkner at the beginning of the Johto series. And I'm like, no. Ash, he didn't even need to get badge 4. He was just given it somehow. He skipped it. We went to badge 5. Why are we back at badge 1? Like, it was awful.
It made no sense.
Dude, but I mean, think about it. Like many of the Cartoon Network shows did not have a linear story progression. I think Ben 10, Samurai Jack, and Teen Titans were probably the only shows that actually had a linear story progression.
I agree.
And so, like, for them to have to like actually take these, Pokemon anime episodes and put them in an order and redub them. And I've watched clips of them redubbing on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
It is so interesting to watch them like try to come up with like the lines.
Yeah, it's difficult sometimes.
It's like I should have started watching Pokemon in Japanese at this point. Like the stories are so much better. You actually get the legit like lines, and it's not like it's still a kid show, but like they don't dumb it down for the kids. Like they actually say it. Like when they think they're gonna die, it's like, oh, we might die. It's like we might get hurt. Like no, we're gonna die.
I will say I just watched Ash versus Cynthia. And oh my gosh, that was
Ooh.
such a mature battle. Good job. Great job on that.
Yo, when Ash is like, wait, I won? I won.
Spoiler, guys.
Ash beat Cynthia. Like, listen, I think, especially for like I know, like me growing up, like Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, like, the originals were some of my favorite games. I started playing them again, and I don't know why they're my favorite games because there's a lot of grinding. There's so much grinding in that game.
Yeah, I was talking about that yesterday with people at my locals, and I hate Brilliant Diamond. I hate it with a passion.
Why? The new one?
So much grinding, dude. It should have been renamed Pokemon Grind. But you know what? Hold on.
Did you go to the underground?
I did. I've been spending hours.
Yeah, the underground. You gotta go to the undergrind.
The undergrind?
Undergrind. You gotta go in the undergrind, and then you just like level up everything. It's great. But dude, I will tell you, Cynthia in that game, like Cynthia was hard in the original Diamond.
Yeah.
Cynthia and Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, whole new level.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we thought Leon was hard in Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Did we?
Dude, so here's the thing. I thought my first time going up against Leon, because like, you know he has that Gigantamax Charizard.
Bro, that was a cakewalk for me. I don't know why, but
dude,
I was sketching my way across.
I did not prepare for it enough. I beat him first try, but I did not prepare for it enough. And honestly, you know what? The only thing that saved my team, I had a Mudsdale on my team. It was like if you don't know what a Mudsdale is basically, it's like the Budweiser horse covered with mud.
Yeah.
And it was great, but it had the ability Stamina. So every time it took a hit, its defense went up. That thing was a tank. I equipped that thing with an assault vest, so its special defense was high, its defense was high. That thing was a living and breathing tank. And it hit like a truck.
It looked like a tank.
And it looked like it wanted to even get me a beer. But no, it was good. But you know, let's get back to the Cartoon Network shows.
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
We're on the topic of Ben 10.
Yes.
With Ben 10, the fact that he can become an alien, I think that always sparked that question: can
The
Goku?
what if?
Yeah, the what if? Can Ben 10 beat Goku?
Ooh. I am gonna say yes, easily yes. I don't think it's gonna be I don't think it would be a competition.
So you think Ben 10 can beat Goku?
Yeah, I do.
Why?
Because if we had the ultimate Omnitrix, then when he turns into Super Saiyan, he just turns into Ultimate form. So if Goku's at Ultra Instinct level, Ben 10 can turn into Ultra Instinct Goku, hit the ultimate Ultimatrix, go to that next level that we're gonna get in the next 10 years.
So you know what? I used to think like that, and that's the conversations I've heard. But I've heard an interesting theory online.
Mm-hmm.
Ben 10 can copy, as being a Saiyan.
Mm-hmm.
But to be a Super Saiyan is unlocking potential.
Oh, okay.
So the fact that Goku, there was many Saiyans back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Frieza killed all of them. He couldn't kill Goku because he unlocked the potential to be a Super Saiyan.
Okay.
Which is almost like I'm a human, but I'm not a bodybuilding jacked human. I'm a blubbery one.
So if he had the Ultimatrix though, wouldn't he be able to then easily unlock that potential?
Well, the question is, does Omnitrix unlock or lets you become an alien, or does it give you all the potentials of the alien? That was my question.
True. Let's put it in terms of aliens that are in the canon universe for Ben 10. Ben 10 would become gray matter, the little smart guy, right? And Azimuth created the Omnitrix.
Yep.
Now, Azimuth is also, I can't remember what they're, little frog gray alien guy. And Ben 10 can become the same alien that Azimuth is. So they're both supposed to be super geniuses.
Yeah.
Azimuth treats Ben in the gray matter form like a child. Because, yes, he has the potential to be super smart, but does not know how to use that intelligence yet. So I see what you're saying. So then my question is, isn't Beerus technically another alien?
Well, he's a god. So I don't know. Are gods aliens? I'm not sure.
But then he can copy the DNA. Because that's how he got the Frankenstein and the wolf monsters.
But I don't think gods have DNA. They live outside the realm. You know what I'm saying? They manage the realm. Almost like you have the crystal ball. This is the world. They're the ones holding it, shaking it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they had DNA.
No, I would throw, Ben 10 can become Superman, he can become Kryptonian. However, we also know that Goku can easily beat a Kryptonian. Yeah. It's not even a contest.
Unless you write it in a different universe, because back in the day, Superman was OP.
No, it would have to be action comics Superman.
This man could literally they made up rules on the spot for Superman at one point.
He was the literal Deus Ex Machina of superheroes.
It's him and Batman just like, hey, did you know he had this? That wasn't even mentioned.
I think one of my favorite Superman powers was his ability to shoot smaller versions of himself out of his hands.
I saw that. I did not understand it.
pew, little Superman, pew, little Superman. It's like, why was that a thing?
How did he learn that?
Like,
what day did he was just like, I wish I can just release myself, and then he's like, "Phew," he's like.
Also, you know how they had to these superpowers that they gave Superman, they gave him to fight whatever the villain of the week was. What villain of the week needed that as their weakness?
My question is, when he shot him out, was he able to control them? Like, were they their own entity?
I feel like they were like, no, I don't think they were their own entity. I feel it was like shooting like lasers out of your hands, but they're little U's.
But they don't. They just look like U's, right?
Yeah. So I feel like it's like Superman shoots bullets out of his hand.
So my question, I guess, is a little dark. If you miss and like hit a wall, what happens?
That's what I was.
Do they go through the wall?
I don't know, because you know, you shoot a laser at a wall, it hits the wall, goes through the wall, but then that laser disappears.
Yeah.
What happens to that?
Does it just like disintegrate?
Yeah, does it disintegrate? Or like, could you imagine if there was a big fight and Superman just firing the little hymns out of his hand all day, and then you walk up to the street later, and like, you know, like after there's been like a car accident on the street, you see all the the glass, you just see a bunch of little dead Supermans on the ground. Like, what is this? Bunch of little dead Supermans. You got that one that's still alive, trying to crawl his way across the street, going, "Give me the yellow sun."
Yo, they're like, yo, dang, Superman comes over, just pours like a 40 over them. That's crazy.
Pouring one out for his homies.
Pouring some out for him.
Oh, his himmies. But
his himmies.
His himmies. But dude, I just want to like focus on the evolution of Cartoon Network over the years for a little bit, because like, you know, I think in the 90s there was like that stupid, grotesque era of Cartoon Network, where, you know, we had there's the Powerpuff Girls, Cow and Chicken, I Am Weasel, Dexter's Laboratory, the Justice Friends. Dude, I love the Justice Friends.
It's hilarious.
I think my favorite episode of Justice Friends is where the Incredible Crunk gets the nacho chip stuck in his teeth.
Yes.
It is devastating the city, and Major Glory is trying to help him. But dude, like those shows, like Ed, Edd and Eddy, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Yeah.
Those shows thrived on like having like almost like those jump disgusting moments, or being like, you know, I would say like locker room humor.
Yep.
And it was very enjoyable as a boy growing up.
Yes.
And I think that the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy and Courage the Cowardly Dog did the grotesque aspect the best. Because think about like all like the close-ups they would do in Courage the Cowardly Dog, like when you'd have someone there and they'd have like the old like burst blood vessels like all over the nose, and it'd be like this very disgustingly well drawn though.
Very graphic design.
And it was like interesting. But then you would also have like Billy and Mandy, which is like you had Billy picking his boogers, and then Billy had dude, the episode where Billy like births a spider.
That was the weirdest one.
Like Billy legit slept with a spider and had a son that was a spider that he was afraid of. And like the fact this became a point of the show where Billy now has a son that is a spider. And like Cartoon Network did not skip any beats. Like, yo, you know that Billy slept with this woman, this female spider. The female spider really kind of slept with him. And now he has a son, and they had to like make this a thing.
They chose to make it a reoccurring bit too.
Yeah.
They could have dropped it easily, but they chose not to.
Mm-hmm. Although my other thing is, who decided to make Grimm Jamaican?
I don't know, but it works.
Like the fact that they made Grimm Jamaican was like, it was such an interesting like spot of the show. That,
it definitely threw me off at first. I was like, whoa.
One thing that I loved is they never did like any like, you know, there was no jokes about like reefer. There's no weed jokes. And there wasn't really like anything like, there was no Rasta bits, which was great. Grimm just had a very, very thick Jamaican accent.
And
he liked the limbo.
And I don't hate it though. It worked.
It worked for him. It worked for him. And it was just such an interesting point that's like, I mean, whenever I think of a skeleton now, I think of it speaking with a Jamaican accent. But dude, Mandy scared the crap out of me as a kid.
It reminded me of all those girls like growing up who are like goth or very emo kind of, and it was just like, oof. there's a mean streak to you, and I don't know if I want to be around that.
She didn't make me think of a goth girl. It was more of the girls who were just kind of closed off and jaded and just kind of like snooty.
Mm.
Like not pretentious, not preppy, but more so just a jerk. Like kind
Mm.
of just was like a jerk to everybody. Although, oh god, what was the boy's name that loved Mandy? Or was it Erwin? It was Billy's friend, the little black nerd kid.
I think so. Yeah, I don't know his name.
Also, why was that a trope in shows? Having the black nerd. That was a huge trope. The thing was,
I don't know why.
like
It just happens.
Fairly Odd Parents, Chester. Or
Yeah,
not Chester, AJ.
with the boil. Or no. Was that him with the boil?
No, no. AJ was the little bald kid that was a genius.
Yes.
But no, but the Erwin or whatever his name was on Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, dude. They literally had him like grow. There was a clip that was circulating on like Instagram the other week, and it's him like walking up to Mandy. He goes, "Hi, Mandy. So, how you doing?" And like, boy pulls out a peach and is like slurping into the peach and is like, "You like what you see, Mandy?"
I definitely remember seeing this this on TikTok.
I'm like, yo, he is eating a peach, and this was a kid's show. This showed at like 4:00 in the afternoon on Cartoon Network. This was an after school show, and you had this boy just like eating a wet peach. I'm like, what is this?
Looking at her too. You like that?
But again, this goes back to show the fact that there were jokes in these shows that were so over the line that they were over our heads. Like if you're a fifth grader or a fourth, you're not going to catch that. And if you are catching it, something else is going on. That's a long conversation.
Yeah.
But it was such a good show, and like again, that era of TV for Cartoon Network was so over the line. It was like raunchy, but we didn't know what it was. Like I feel like Cartoon Network saw Ren and Stimpy on Nickelodeon and says, "Yo, what if we took that show and just did it a dozen times, and that was our entire network?"
Yeah.
Because like, dude, remember the red guy? It was basically Satan in Cow and Chicken. Dude always had his butt hanging out.
Or wasn't it him?
No, him was in Powerpuff Girls.
Him was in Powerpuff Girls, but there was
But him was a like. Honestly, I think him was like probably the first transgender character to be on TV.
I think it may have been.
Yeah, like I don't know if they ever confirmed it, but it's like it's I don't know. It was such a out there character.
Yeah, it was definitely different.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's what made all these shows different, like and so iconic and nostalgic for us.
Mm-hmm.
There were different aspects of it, and they approached different social norms, and I wouldn't even say they weren't really norms at the time, but different social aspects that introduce us to different things. So, hey, this person's, transgender, or this person's, cross dressing or whatever. And it's like, oh, it's the first time we're exploring this. And
I think in the same way that, like, Powerpuff Girls, like, dive deep into how Mojo Jojo became Mojo Jojo, those aspects that, like, made someone different, they never made it seem like it was wrong. They never tried to like be like, you shouldn't be this way. They really focused on accepting somebody for who they were.
And all those shows had each their own little message in that. For example, Ed, Edd n Eddy. They were hustlers. They were about their money, and everyone nowadays, it's all about that bread. It's all about these dudes were all about them jawbreakers, bro.
Yo, the jawbreakers, and then avoiding the Canker sisters. Avoiding the Canker sisters.
Yes.
But dude, all these shows had such a good underlying message of acceptance.
And then my question for you is, once it started changing to things like Flapjack and Foster's, what's your opinion on that? Like, what was missing to make them so like that was making them iconic?
So Ben 10 excluded, because I think Ben 10 was just like their cash cow. But I think Foster's was one of the last good shows on Cartoon Network.
I would agree with that.
Because, like, Foster's, Flapjack, Chowder, My Gym Partner's a Monkey, and Camp Lazlo were kind of like this whole like 5-year like stretch. And the same aspects of like Courage the Cowardly Dog, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Cow and Chicken, I Are Baboon, like those like aspects of being like kind of gross and a little bit raunchy.
Mm-hmm.
They got rid of all the raunchy aspects, which I get. You're a kid station.
Yeah.
But they dove super heavily into just the gross toilet humor. But the thing is, when like Johnny Bravo and Dexter's Laboratory and Ed, Edd and Eddie did like the toilet humor, it wasn't joke after joke after joke after joke after joke. There was actually something going on. There was actually a plot point to an episode where I feel like Flapjack did not do that. Chowder, as much as I enjoyed Chowder, I really liked the character Schnitzel just because he went rada 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 rada. Like I loved that show. I like all the characters in it had food, and I love food, so it was a perfect show for me. They went really into just the stupid slapstick joke about farts and like poo poo pee pee jokes, and I thought it was started to be the death of Cartoon Network, and I feel like it really spoke when their ratings dropped down, and so they started cutting shows that had higher production values, like Teen Titans.
Yeah.
And they scrapped it, and they did Teen Titans Go, which I'm not a huge fan of Teen Titans Go,
No.
and it literally just that show then dived deeply into the slapstick comedy. I will say the one thing I do like about that is because they're not doing an episodic like season, they can put in a lot of deep cuts and just a lot of Easter eggs.
Yeah. And they can expand on it. And they have.
Yeah, and they can make fun of themselves. Like they literally talked about how Teen Titans Go is not as good as the original Teen Titans, or not as good as Young Justice.
Multiple times, multiple episodes saying that.
I love the one where they do the crossover with Young Justice and like we must be more serious, like we must smolder. They just like stare off in the distance, and the animation child, and they all get like the big chin. They all like turn into the crimson chin, and it was so good. But the show overall was not good, and it was sad. And then we had the Teen Titans Go, and then they came out with We Bare Bears, which was an interesting show, but was also not that great. And then I feel like Cartoon Network has just continued to just go down and down and down, and now they do We Baby Bears. Like they're just latching on to whatever intellectual properties that they have that they can just keep just honestly retooling and putting back out there.
And I feel like they haven't really had a big hit since Gumball. I think Gumball was the only thing outside of it that did something different, introduced anime styles, different
the animation
humors
styles,
and things like that.
So I think I've been pretty notorious for saying on the podcast, I do not like animation changes. I don't like changes of style and animation, which not to go back to Ben 10, but that was like, I watched, Ben 10, Alien Force, and Ultimate Alien back to back to back, all from middle school through high school. I would literally go home and watch Ultimate Alien my senior year of high school. I loved it. But then they changed to the Omniverse, and the animation style changed, and I'm like, I can't watch this anymore. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But the other thing, which was just very interesting to me, Gumball, like you were just saying, the animation style was so drastically different. All the characters had like different animation style, but I loved it because that was their animation style. Their animation style was just being different.
And it worked. Like I didn't question how a fish and a weasel and I don't know how all that works out, but overall, like I didn't care because I was like, okay, it's a kid show. It is what it is. But I will say the message on there, it reminded me of stuff that I thought you put Gumball back in the day with Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, like you put them back to back. I feel like you have a hit right there. But I think it was just in a different era, and I think that's what really shines when I heard Gumball. I didn't really watch a lot of episodes. I watch them here and there when I'm like at a store and it's just on and I'm waiting for something. Like I'll watch it if it's on, but it was something different.
Yeah, I think Gumball is definitely a show that could exist in any era of Cartoon Network, whether it is
it's versatile,
the 90s,
it's versatile,
or even like the current day and era. Like I think it fits what their lineups are now.
Yep.
And I think it would be its standalone like hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gumball was a good show. You said that they haven't had any big hits. I think that also we're in our 20s, we're almost 30. And I don't think we're watching Cartoon Network on the regular. I think that they have had a couple big hits because I hear my students talk about them. Steven Universe is a big thing that they love.
It's possibly one of the biggest things out there
Mhm.
in animation. I'd say easily top 10.
And then Adventure
especially
Time.
lore. Yeah.
Adventure Time was another one that I know that they loved. I think Adventure Time ended a little bit ago, but it was one that they also loved, like that generation. Like my 8th graders who graduated last year, they loved Adventure Time. And so like remember they were one a day that they could have like just a little bit of chill time. They wanted to watch Adventure Time. And I was like, sure, we put an episode of Adventure Time on, and I didn't see the appeal of it, but they liked it. So
it's not my type of show, but I can see it's there for someone.
yeah,
Just not me.
Exactly.
what
Which,
it
like,
is.
you know, there are people who didn't like Powerpuff Girls, people who didn't like Dexter's Lab, there are people who didn't like Ben 10. And those are my shows growing up.
Yeah.
So I got a little thing for you before we start wrapping up, because I feel like we've been going on and on today about Cartoon Network.
So many things. But it's been good. It's been good.
Well, we also had the breaking up with all the technical issues today.
Yes.
But
Agreed.
what is one show that you would just you don't want them to ever remake it? Not because it wasn't good, but because you think it was so pristine when it first came out that don't touch it. Because like right now they're trying to redo Ed, Edd and Eddy. Or they did redo Ed, Edd and Eddy, and it was not good.
From Cartoon Network, right?
Yep, Cartoon Network. So one of the shows that we've talked about today. So here, want me to list you a couple shows?
Yeah, let me hear a couple.
Because okay. So how about this? I'm gonna take out any show that they've actually redone, because they redid Powerpuff Girls, and now they're trying to do the CW live action.
I saw that.
Ben 10, I'm gonna take out because they redid Ben 10. They redid Teen Titans. They redid Ed, Edd and Eddy. Okay, so here's what you got: Dexter's Lab, Cow and Chicken, I Am Weasel / I Am Baboon, Justice Friends, Johnny Bravo, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Didn't they redo Courage recently?
Did they redo Courage?
I thought they redid Courage a little bit.
Oh, please tell me they didn't touch Courage, because that was my choice.
I thought they did Courage recently with a. They rebooted it a little bit.
They're making a movie, or is this up? Ooh, are they redoing a movie?
Family comedy.
There's an upcoming movie for Courage the Cowardly Dog in 2023.
So
we'll take that one off the list.
So I would have said Courage, but I remember hearing something about a remake, or they redid the animation a little bit. So I would have to go with The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I didn't watch it a lot as a kid, so I want to put that out there. But what it really did was it introduced me to the internet mainly. They had a great game where you play as Mandy and Billy and Grim, and you would swap back and forth. You would get these weapons, and it was a side scroller game, but it was so good, and it introduced me to the internet. But it was also a great feel. When I watch Billy and Mandy, it feels like not Christmas. It feels like Halloween. It feels like October. It feels like something.
It is a spooky season just show. The entire premise of the show, and even down to like the tones of the colors that they used.
Are they rebooting Dexter's Laboratory?
Yep, because that was my second choice, was going to be Dexter's Lab, and Dexter's Lab is going to have a TV series on HBO Max in 2023. Oh,
Bella Thorne is Dee Dee.
Ooh, wait, is this going to be a live show?
It's live action?
Wait.
Boy, it's upcoming a sitcom.
Who's playing Dexter's mom? Who is do we know who she is? Amanda Layton? She's not Dexter's mom. She can't be Dexter's mom. There's no way.
She's not thick enough.
No, she's not thick enough. Listen, I want to see her in a pair. I want to see her in a pair. I want to see her in an apron.
And the green pants.
And the green pants with the white shirt.
Tiptoeing.
And you know what she needs? Can't forget the yellow rubber gloves.
Yes.
Yo, those rubber gloves are iconic. Actually, you know what? That should be Johnson in my Halloween costume. You
should go as the dad. She should go as the mom.
Yo.
With the glasses and the blonde hair. Yo, Dexter's dad deserves credit. That man was paying for a crazy bill.
Yo, his electric bill
was through the roof.
Yeah, he never talked about it. You know that man silently making bank.
Yo, he had internet like quick internet before we had like dial up.
Yo, them yellow gloves. Look at that. Look at that.
Her lower body is literally a teardrop flipped upside down.
Yeah, that is
It's crazy.
She listen. If Dexter's mom,
How did she not sprain an ankle?
yeah, look at that.
But also she was running, yo,
dude.
bro. She could balance.
She's
on her.
balancing the tea set on her caboose.
But look, go one picture down. She's running, bro. Sprinting with those thin shoes.
Look at that is a point. That is a point.
She is sprinting with points.
Dude, why she's wearing flats. Why is she on her tiptoes all the time?
Yo, she built different. That's
So
how
the dad though.
Determined.
That dad though.
That dad.
Look at this. Look at the dad's smile. The dad's smile. He's like he knows what he's got.
That man's done something terrible in his days.
Could you imagine?
Yo, he a baby.
What if? So we're gonna think.
I love
a
it.
little hypothetical there. What if Johnny Bravo is actually this man?
So he didn't become.
So what?
All the strong buffness didn't work, so he decided to go to his geeky side.
Exactly. What if
scored
Johnny
him.
Bravo is Dexter's dad in an alternate universe?
If you go diagonal by one, where he's like behind his right there. Yeah,
That is some creepy stuff.
that's Johnny right there. Yeah, I think it's possible.
Yeah. So, well, it's kind of sad they're going to bring back Dexter's lab. They're bringing back Courage. Like, hopefully they do it well. Like, I'm not excited for it. I mean, I am if they do it well. I really hope they keep some of the similar animation styles, some of the similar storylines. I would love to hear the iconic
Mandark. Oh man.
Oh, dude. The Mandark versus Dexter episodes when they would have like their superpowers, best episodes. Best
Very
episodes.
slept on.
The monkey versus the duck.
Oh yes.
Dude, that
was original Peter versus chicken.
hands down. It was so good. Actually, didn't Seth MacFarlane get his start animated for Cartoon Network?
I think so.
Honestly, he was on I don't know. But yeah, that could be its own episode one day. But we can just go through all different animators and cross connections. But you know what? I think the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, it needs to stay how it is. Maybe like a holiday special. But you can't remake it because if they remake it, they are going to put it in their current animation style. They're gonna dull down all the horror aspects. Dude, that show was creepy.
It was frightening, bro.
Oh god, what was his name? Probably shouldn't have banged on the desk like that. But what was the guy's name? That the big buff, orange hair guy that had the hook for a hand.
I didn't watch it much as a kid.
Oh my gosh. He was so good. He was like coming on in. He was basically did you ever watch The Secret Saturdays or
Jeff, was it?
Jeff.
I see some characters over there.
Nope, Jeff was the spider.
Jeff was the spider.
Jeff was the spider.
But that was his son, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the guy with the orange hair makes me think of Buff Dexter. This guy. Haas Delgado.
Yo.
Chainsaw hand. That's what he had.
Yeah.
Dude, that was...
It was scary.
Dude, like, exactly. And, like, 'cause the thing is, they would show the chainsaw coming in, got the armpit hair going on, the gruff beard. Dude has a machine gun for a hand over here. Like, that show...
It was versatile, man.
It was so good. And it was so slept on. And one... The animation that they did for this show being so creepy and just so grotesque.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, this picture of Billy right here turned into some weird creature with a giant nose with like boogers and messed up teeth. Like, you couldn't do that in today's animation.
No, you couldn't.
They would have to dull it down because it probably would not get past censors. But such a good show. It's such a good show. That's all I gotta say.
And I think they just keep it the way it is, and you're good.
Yeah. So, Cartoon Network, old days good, new days bad.
I agree with that statement 100%.
Yeah.
Easily.
I think that's a perfect way to probably round out our episode. So we'll probably try and record another one before October ends. next time. I think that we'll try and talk about best Halloween or October movies.
Oh,
Which hopefully, I'm probably speaking out my ass right now, but I'm hoping we can get Brandon on
that'd be really fun.
because Brandon is a big Halloween movie guy. I know that he loves all of his like Disney Channel original movies, and I think that he would want to be here for that conversation. So maybe even we can get some recorded audio beforehand, or get him actually back here on the podcast.
Definitely, I think you got to get him on. For that one.
That one has to be him. But we'll do a special October episode for, as my wife says, spoopy season. But, this has been Nostalgia Junkies. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all Nostalgia Junkies podcast. Check out, share our stuff, watch our videos, share the podcast. You can get it on Anchor. You can get it on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google, honestly, we're on most major streaming websites. You can check out the video. Hopefully our audio and our video today actually match up. And I've been Alex.
And I've been Joe. Make sure to check out Retro Junk in Manchester, Connecticut as well.
And say hi to Brandon for us.
Definitely.
That's all, folks. Thank you for listening to the Nostalgia Junkies podcast. Follow us on social media, subscribe to the podcast, and make sure to never miss an episode. Till the next episode.